Hello, this is Cathy Cassidy and I'm here to read you chapter 5 of my book SUNDAE Girl. And chapter 5, as you will see, is a snowy kind of a chapter, and I've moved to sit down near the window because it was gently snowing out there until about a moment ago, but that's just typical. Maybe it will start to snow again, and there is a little tiny bit of snow settled on the ground, so who knows. But anyway, here we go with chapter 5. It is almost Christmas. I know this because I've watched the sixth form pantomime, burned a tray full of mince pies in home ec, and learned Silent Night in German. I stood behind a stall at the Christmas craft fair, flogging hand-printed gift wrap and salt dough Santas and homemade crackers filled with pick and mix. On the last day of term, we get to finish early. Year 7 and Year 9 are having an afternoon Christmas disco in the school hall. Years 10 and 11 are having an evening Christmas disco in the school hall. Year 8 are raising money for an orphanage. So we get to troop into the city centre, even though the temperature is sub-zero, clutching our photocopied carol sheets and collecting tins. Christina Kowalski, after weeks of wiggling about in black hipsters, has appeared once more in her micro mini and may well need to be wrapped in one of those reflective blankets they drape around accident victims if she's foolish enough to venture outside. This is it, 8B, Miss Devlin beams as we trudge onto coaches hired specially to take us to our fate. The real spirit of Christmas. Year 8 is divided into 3 groups and dropped off at different locations around the city to divide and conquer. 2 classes get to sing in the foyer at the railway station where travellers are returning home for Christmas full of smiles and loose change. 2 classes are dropped off at a supermarket complex heaving with festive shoppers, and they get to rattle their tins where it's warm and cosy. The last 2, 8A and 8B, get to shiver in the open air in the middle of the shopping precinct in town. Miss Devlin, wearing novelty reindeer antlers on her mousy curls, darts in and out of the harassed shoppers, shaking a tin. A couple of kids play violins with frost-bitten fingers, which sounds like several cats being strangled. We trawl through Silent Night, Little Donkey and Away in a Manger, and then throw in White Christmas for light relief. After an hour, flasks of hot cocoa and weighty fruitcake are passed round to keep us going. Christina Kowalski pretends to have a sore throat and is sent home early, her legs mottled blue like slabs of Stilton cheese. The rest of us struggle on, even when the light begins to fade and the first flakes of snow begin to fall. Keep going, Miss Devlin implores. Just half an hour more. Think of those little orphans. Think of the true spirit of Christmas. If I hear another word about the true spirit of Christmas, I think I will cry. My tears will probably turn to icicles as they fall. Across the way, a small man in a bobble hat and striped scarf starts selling the evening paper from a makeshift stand. City final, he roars over the sound of our singing. Hark the herald, Brendan Coyle roars back. Eventually, even Miss Devlin admits it's too cold to go on. The snow is falling fast now and shoppers are hurrying for their buses and cars, anxious to get home. They don't want to hear carols or cats being strangled. Happy Christmas, children, Miss Devlin calls out, her antlers bobbing. Take care getting home. See you in the new year. We break into little groups and slither through the slush down towards the bus stops. Nuala O'Sullivan flags down a number 73 and I am left alone at the tail end of the longest queue I've ever seen for the number 32A. Every bus that comes past is stuffed with shoppers. One after another sweeps past, splattering me with grey slush. I am so cold I could curl up in a corner and die. We could always walk, a voice says in my ear. Kevin Carter is at my side, a black beanie hat pulled low over straw-coloured hair. coat collar turned up against the snow. Sure, nice weather for a stroll, I snap. No, seriously, Carter says, the buses are full. You will be stuck here till all hours. We could start walking, warm up a bit. If we stick to the bus route, we'll be able to get on eventually once people start getting off. Carter, it's miles, I protest. You can call me Kevin, he grins. I know. Come on, Carter, it's a crazy idea. Got a better one? I haven't. We walk down through the precinct, almost deserted now, and out along the main road towards Tile Hill. The snow is settling, hiding grey pavements beneath a shimmering crust of white. You don't even catch the same bus as me, I accuse him. No, he admits. Why are you following me? Carter pulls a big red envelope, slightly soggy, from his pocket. Just wanted to give you this, he says. I forgot in school. You know, it's just a card. I open the card, which shows two penguins standing together on a heart-shaped chunk of ice. There is a foil-wrapped chocolate tree decoration inside the envelope, also heart-shaped. Thanks, I say. I haven't got anything for you. It's okay, Carter shrugs. I didn't expect anything. What are you doing for Christmas? Oh, the usual, falling asleep in midnight mass, eating too much turkey, watching too much corny TV. You? Pretty much the same. How about New Year? I roll my eyes. Party, I tell him. My dad just got engaged to his girlfriend, and they're having a get-together. Fancy dress. It's an Elvis party, actually, but I leave out that little detail. Your dad? Carter frowns. Yeah, he's not with my mum anymore, I explain. Not for years. That's why you live with your grandparents. Yeah, that's why. Can anyone come, Carter asks, to the party? Strictly invite only, I tell him. Pity. We've turned off the main road now, heading down the hill towards my old school, Our Lady of Sorrows. Christina Kowalski lives around here somewhere, Carter says. Does she? I reply. What a thrill. I've never seen her around. Nobody knows much about her, Carter muses. Even Brendan doesn't know where she lives exactly. In a crumbling castle full of dungeons, bats and vampires, I suggest. You don't like her, do you? Well spotted. She's okay, Carter shrugs, and even though I don't like Kevin Carter, not really, I feel a sharp needle of jealousy. Christina Kowalski can have any boy she wants. I just don't want her to have Carter. Wow, Our Lady of Sorrows. Carter reads from the snow-capped sign as we trudge past the grey building block classrooms. Some name for a primary school. Bet that was a bundle of laughs. It was okay, I tell him. We called it Our Ladies for short. I wish I'd known you when you were 6 years old with gaps in your teeth and pigtails, Carter grins. What's this bit? The church? We stop, looking up at the stained glass windows, the fancy zigzaggy roof that some architect must have thought would look really cool back in the 1960s. Yeah, Mass every Sunday, class service on Tuesdays, benediction on Fridays, I tell him. We never go anymore. Not since the time Gran shouted out in the middle of an especially heated sermon, telling Father Lynch to mind his manners or she'd have a word with his mum. Me neither, Carter is saying. Well, it was different back then, I tell him. I believed it all. I saw a miracle here once when I was 7. What kind of a miracle? I steer him off the road across the car park and round to the back of the church. What am I looking for? He asks, puzzled. A little lantern is built into the wall, spilling yellow light into the darkness. There is a shrine built into the rocks against the back wall of the church, a statue of Our Lady of Sorrows in a blue dress, her arms outstretched. Today, of course, she's shrouded in white. Wow, Carter says, there's nothing like that at our local church. It was out of bounds when we were at school, but we used to sneak through the fence. Back then, I used to kneel at the handrail in front of the statue, praying that I'd get a Barbie for Christmas or that my hamster wouldn't die. Other stuff, too. It never worked. So what was the miracle? Carter wants to know. When I was 7, some kids started a rumour that if you could make the statue smile, all your prayers would be answered. I explain. I believed it. One Saturday, Nuala and I bought biscuits and Fanta and sat on the bench for hours, telling her jokes and funny stories, pulling faces, till we were so bored our eyes ached. And then, finally, she smiled. Carter grins. Not really, he says. Well, maybe not really. Maybe we were just tired and fed up and over-imaginative, but we thought it happened, both of us. I guess I needed something to believe in back then. It was at a time when Mum was drinking heavily, rowing lots with her old boyfriend, Tom. I tried to believe I'd seen the statue smile, tried to believe my prayers would be answered. They weren't. Well, not for long, anyhow. Carter frowns up at the statue, considering. What do you call a reindeer in a blindfold? He asks, then provides his own answer. No idea. What are you doing? Getting her to smile, of course, Carter says. Think she could get me into the street hockey team? That might take more than a miracle. We trudge through the car park and back to the pavement. Carter's hat is caked with snow, his coat flecked with white. He sticks his tongue out in the dark, catching snowflakes. I scuff up a wad of snow on the toe of my boot, then kick it off into the road. Carter, why are you walking me home? I ask. Felt like it, he says, looking at me with shiny hazel eyes. He reaches out a soggy gloved hand to touch my face. You've got a snowflake on your nose. He shows me the snowflake clinging to the damp black wool of his glove like a tiny fallen star. Amazing, isn't it? Carter says. I glance up and notice the snowflakes glinting around the edge of his beanie hat, the little white flecks that cling to the tips of his long brown lashes. Just for a moment, I think he's going to kiss me. He leans forward, his lips parted slightly, smiling, and my heart thumps because I'm just not ready for this, and I don't know how to tell him without hurting his feelings. Don't, I say, please. I can't help it. Then he stuffs a snowball down the back of my neck and runs away through the snowstorm. Typical. So that was chapter 5. And if you tune in to Sunday Book Club the weekend, you can hear some of the inspirations and ideas behind the story. And I'll tell you why it's such a personal story for me. So I'll see you then. And don't forget to tune in again next week on Monday for chapter 6. Take care and keep smiling.